And I don't have, when I go live on Zoom, I don't have access to my Facebook feed. So I don't know if people are out there or not. I got to change that. I look at changing that this weekend, but oh well.
But you could still go live on Facebook and then just record it on Zoom.
So the problem is, or I want to go live on, and hey, everybody, if anybody's paying attention or just tuned in, we are actually live, is I want to be on live on Facebook, Zoom, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn at the same time. And so you have to have and so the service I have doesn't allow me to do that and see all of my comments. So that's the next thing, is finding the service that's going to allow me to see my comments. Hey, everybody, we are live if you are out there. And now I am actually going to record it as well with that. And so this is a project that has been on my things to do list for over a year with that. And I simply wanted to do, maybe 2 years actually. But what I wanted is, this was my dream. So once my supervisees graduate and they off doing fabulous sex therapy things in the world, you guys, like I miss talking to you guys once a month and being in collaboration with you and everything. So I started to think, what could I do that would continue to keep my supervisees in contact with me, that we can kind of stay in community? And because we came to community through collaboration of like becoming better sex therapists, I wanted to include something that was sex therapy related, right? And so then that's when I was like, well, what if we did a book club and everything? So this is the first inaugural book club. Right. And I hear all y'all people correcting my English. It's not the first inaugural. It's either the inaugural or it's the first. And so this is the inaugural
of many.
Yes, of many sex therapy book club. So I'll be in the future. We don't have everybody tonight. I just have one of my supervisees here with me tonight. And would you just introduce yourself? So tell them who you are, tell us what the great things that you're doing, and then we're gonna like jump into the book. And we'll talk about some other things at the end. Oh, maybe I'll talk about everything at the beginning. Okay, I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna give you the floor.
Okay, so hello everybody. I absolutely love Miss Natalie. She knows that from the bottom of my heart. She knows I have been in this process for a while, and she has been a very intricate part of that from the moment I started looking into this process. But my name is Sharita Shelton Settles. I am an LPC in the state of Georgia. I'm also an international speaker. I do speaking engagements. I do couples workshops, retreats for individuals as well. I work a lot in the LGBTQIA arena, as well as people of color. But I am all inclusive. Everybody is welcome. I actually have a couples workshop coming up June 24th. Check it out on Eventbrite. It is Same Bed, Different Head is the name of the couples workshop.
I love that name. And I do want to make sure, because we are recording this and somebody could be watching this years later, that this is 2023. So June what was the date?
24th, Saturday, June 24th, 2023.
Okay.
In Stone Mountain, Georgia. It will be a great time. It will be a 6-hour therapist-led workshop, but anybody who knows me, for those who don't, plenty of activities, goodie bags. It's going to be breakfast. It's going to be catered lunch. We're going to have a private wine tasting at the end. So it's definitely going to be a good time for my couples to kind of just do a relationship refresher. It's not always being in a bad place. It's just being able to love on each other in a new space. So you can follow me on all platforms at Relatable Rita. That is Instagram, that's TikTok, that is Facebook. And I would just love some new followers. I love the work that I do. I love working with my couples, and I love sex.
Okay. So thank you so much for that fabulous introduction of yourself. And I don't know, hopefully y'all know me by now, anybody who's listening to this, but my name is Natalie Elliott. I have been a sex therapist in the Atlanta area since 2012 with that, and still loving it, still doing it. I have supervisees all across the nation with that. And let's see, I run a private practice, and I enjoy doing all that I'm doing. And so I'm hoping this book club does bring that camaraderie that I want for my supervisees, because once you graduate or like finish supervision and you're out there doing your thing, private practice can be a little isolating with that, especially as a sex therapist, because you know it's just it is. So the book so we'll have a different book every month, and I'm going to have to put that list on a webpage somewhere so you guys will know where it is. At the very least, I probably need to put it on my Instagram page, the Atlanta Sex Therapy page, and figure out how to make sure I'm letting you guys know the upcoming book. So I'll go ahead and tell you, the book that's next is Becoming Clitorate. The book that will be next will be Becoming Clitorate. So if you're getting this and getting the information, so the next time we'll have this book club should be the third Thursday of each month at 7:00. And so the next book will be Becoming Clitorate by Lori Mintz. I think Mintz, I think is how we spell her name. I'll get that for you by the end of the call, and make sure, and probably even pull up a picture of it. Tonight, though, we are going to talk about, and I'm going to share my screen because I pulled it up and I wanted you guys to have a picture of it. Wow, I thought I had it ready. All right, so we're going to do the book Sinless Sex.
Yes.
So Sinless Sex. All right, I love this book because I love the author. So Dr. William Staten is my first sex therapy supervisor. And so I got the wonderful privilege to literally, it felt like, sit at his feet. And he has been in the field. He was one of, like, I won't say he was one of the founding member of the sex therapy field, but he studied with Masters and Johnson. Like, he knew these people. A lot of things, if you talk to him about it, he'll say, well, we decided to create that, or we decided to do the protocol because, or we decided da. So he was like at the beginning. And so when I did supervision with him, he had been doing sex therapy, I'm going to say 50, 55 years, maybe.
Wow.
And so just to sit at his feet. And so a lot of the information in the book, I actually heard him say out of his mouth. And so I'm really excited. So, but Sharita, from your perspective of Sinless Sex, kind of reading it, what did you get from it? Because this is a challenge to religion, which is, I got to say, wait, let me tell y'all a joke. I would leave supervision sometimes and have to call my best friend and be like, he has broke my brain. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I would be it was such at the beginning, and we're talking, so we're at the beginning of my sex therapy career. So we're talking about, like, my little fire and brimstone, super saved mind was just continually just getting, like, challenged and broke and, like, beat up and, like, wait, what you say? I don't understand, like, with that. So what was your perspective of reading the book? How did you feel reading it?
I was very excited, first of all. Let me say that, because I actually, when I finish, will be a Christian sex therapist, which people do not expect those two to go hand together a lot of times. And so I am in a program that focuses on the religious aspect, but also sexual desire, sexual pleasure, and things of that nature. Right. So I was very just elated to see it broken down in such a way where, at the end of the day, regardless of religion, we are humans first. And God created us as sexual beings, and he created us as human beings. And so I think that a lot of times you have to be able to challenge your beliefs and land wherever that person is comfortable landing.
Yeah.
Even with you saying, like, my little, mine, save mine, or whatever, was like, oh my gosh, it's like, and you will get things that challenge that, but you have to know what your beliefs are, and you have to fall and understand in a non-judgmental way that certain things will challenge those beliefs. So even seeing him hitting on, you know, like transgendering children. And if you're, you know, somebody comes to you and says that this is, you know, a relationship that I want to be able to express myself in this way, or what it looks like in terms of biology and where we are at our core. So I actually, like I said, was very excited because Christians, that's part of one of my missions, is that, you know, we have all of these all of these marriage retreats and marriage things that we do in church and marriage clubs and whatever, but we do not like to talk about sex a lot and mix that when it comes to religion, especially Christianity anyway. So I just was, as you said, happy to be at the foot. Even though I was reading it, I could tell, you know, he's a founder. And so somebody paved the way for there to even be a school about sex and Christianity, to be a Christian sex therapist. And that does not mean, as I said in the beginning, that I'm not all inclusive, but that just means that there are certain things that are a little bit different, and you have to be able to challenge that within yourself.
You definitely do. And I think, we got to talk about the book, but oh my God, I want to go in so many different directions. And so what is like, I feel like I got to go to right now is Christians that use Christianity to hide from sex and sexuality and sexual issues. And so I have had the pleasure, I think, of working with a number of people, male and females, where we've had to sit there and look at how you use your faith to hide behind these issues and to not deal with these issues until, I won't say it's too late, but until you are now in a marital relationship and now having to deal with them. And so you were able to do that. And so I think one of the things about this book is books in general, but especially a book that talks about faith and religions and sex, it will start to make you think, why do I believe that? Where did that belief come from? What am I thinking about that? Like, let's just say I went to a church and the bishop used to make, I won't say make fun of, but he would kind of joke with like couples or who were trying to like have sex and listen to gospel music in the background, like, oh, how great thou art, like, you know, and like, that's just not sexy. And like, where did that come from? That you got to be so super holy all the time, and that, music, with that. And I think when we have a book like this that starts to make us think about, how did that work? I never thought, where did I get that from? With that, I think that's really, really powerful, because I think that's the start of a lot of it, is where did I get that idea from? You know, with that. And so, okay. So what else came up for you in the book, my dear? Reading the book.
I feel like some of the other things that really came up were, as you kind of hit on, you know, challenging your beliefs, looking at beliefs around the world, not just from like westernized or American Christianity view of what is acceptable and what is unacceptable, but honestly being able to look at those things overall. I'll also say that I enjoy when he talked about some of the different disorders that are actually, you know, a lot of times we don't have names or aren't able to put names on certain things. And especially when it comes to sexual, how many women do we see with pelvic floor issues or different things? They're just like, oh, you just need to relax, or, you just need to loosen up a little bit. And it's so much deeper than that. So being able to recognize that there are some actual medical things that go along with sex. We think sex is just a sexual thing, but a lot of times there may be some medical things that go along with that too. And and I don't think we definitely talk about that enough.
We don't talk about that enough. And I'm so sorry. I'm trying to stay on topic.
No, I gotta piggyback off too, though, Natalie, even saying like that the religion allows you to mask so many of the issues, right? I'm just super holy. When we talk about homosexuality in a church, or we talk about being sexually molested, or all these different things, that it's easier to just say, oh, I'm abstaining. I'm not doing this. Right? That's how you can kind of mask it or run from it in certain ways until, you can't fix what you're not willing to face.
Oh, girl, preach that sermon every day of the week.
So,
yes.
With that being said,
right,
until you get to it, right, until you actually get married, and you can't run from that thing anymore. You absolutely cannot. Oh, now here's my son. All right. Well, you want to say good evening, say hello, and then you have to go back. Bye-bye, okay? You can't stand here with mommy. But this is in training, so we have a help.
Yes.
Say hi.
Hey, little baby. What's your son or daughter? Son?
It's a boy, Kingston.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I love that name, Kingston.
Kingston Ezekiel. Strength to
Kingston
God.
Ezekiel. Strength to God. Right. Okay.
Go find Daddy.
All right. So, what were you saying? Hiding behind, facing that thing every day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That you cannot fix what you're not willing to face.
Right.
And when you don't know until you actually get into that situation, and you're thrust into it, or you don't know what you like, what you want, what you need. So yes, I understand the ideology that we have about abstaining and the reasons why, and that is really big in the Christian denomination. But if you choose to do that, then who's going to guide you through when you choose to not do that?
And oh, girl, I want to say so many things. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to piggyback off of that statement. Then I'm going to go get what you said a while ago and piggyback on something else. But just because you choose to abstain doesn't mean you can't have any conversations about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you're so scared that the conversation is going to get so heated that you might wind up abstaining, okay, have the conversations at Starbucks, have it at Panera, have it in the middle of the park. But you can have a conversation about, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Hey, this is the vision for our intimate life. Hey, this is what I'm really wanting in a partner. Hey, do you think you can handle this? Hey, because you can have a conversation. And so it's been very interesting to me over the last couple of weeks is I'm dealing with people who are adults. And when I mean adult, I'm going to say over 25, who can't have a simple conversation about sex.
Right.
Isn't willing to say, okay, this is what I'm thinking will be working for us.
And,
this is what I'm concerned about.
Think about that generationally. If you're saying now, in this over-sexualized world that we live in this land of social media and pornography and everything on every whatever.
Right.
And these people 25 and up are not able to have those conversations about sex. What must it have been like for our parents or grandparents, right? So this is definitely generationally something that was just not discussed.
Not discussed.
So we're breaking down those generational barriers. It's just like, oh, you'll just when you get to it, you'll just know what to do. And that is a very falsehood. Very much a falsehood.
Look, the devil was a lie.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Right. We gotta go back. Okay. And so on that, it's so the other thing that has been, I'm gonna say shocking, because sometimes I forget the lack of information that's out there about sex and sexuality, right?
Yeah. Because
and so right, I forget. And so when I'm talking to various males and females, and I'll say, wait a minute, that don't sound right. What did your doctor say about that?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, I didn't tell my doctor. Exactly. You didn't tell your doctor you've been in pain? Right. Like, you didn't tell your doctor this isn't working well for you? You didn't tell your doctor that you're having problems in this area?
No, because they probably told their mama. And their mama said, it's all right, it'll get better.
Right. And so we got to talk about it. Like, you've got to be able to talk about it. You've got to be able to have some type of conversation, because y'all are just in your heads thinking the same thoughts you've been thinking. Mm-hmm. You're not reading a book. You're not talking to a professional. And exactly. So you're not going to get anywhere else.
Any further than you've been on your own.
Because we out in the Christian world. I love this saying by Creflo Dollar. One of the things he said, I ain't thought about him in a long time. Hey, Creflo. And all of y'all world changers out there is, but I remember him saying one time in a sermon that I heard, once you've done all you know to do, you now need to go get more information. Like, just that simple. If you've done all you know to do, then you need more knowledge. So now you can do more stuff. And so when it comes to sex and sexuality, I would love for you to read this book, but I would love for you to read any books. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes it floors me that some of my clients are willing to pay me whatever I'm charging at whatever time. And if I say, tell me what books you've read on the subject. Oh, no. Okay. The same books I'm ordering off of Amazon are the exact same books you can order off of Amazon. Amazon don't discriminate. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, they love when you buy for them.
And don't.
Right. And so I want to encourage anybody who's listening to them to make sure that if you have a problem, if you have a situation, you need to do some reading about it. With that, or talking to somebody. If you can't talk to one of us, a mental health professional, both of us have practices, so you talk to us. You talk to your doctor, talk to a nurse, like talk to somebody to get more information. So, okay, moving on with the book, because I've moved the page down. And I don't think that we talk enough about universal sexual rights.
Yes.
And I really want to talk about this in the light and the lens of, we have so many baby boomers going into senior citizens community communities, or then we'll probably have them in nursing homes. And I haven't checked the statistics lately, but for a good amount of time during my training, senior citizens had the highest STD rates.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is because A, they didn't have good information, and B, they were starting to have sex again because they were in these communities and together and they could still do it. Right. But what was another thing that was happening is their children and staff didn't understand universal sexual rights. They didn't understand how to educate sexually, or to I don't want to say guard against it, because I don't know if I want you guarding against a 70-year-old sexual right, but to educate and talk around it so that everybody's safe. It really makes me think about sex and dementia, sex and Alzheimer's, and how that can affect couples with that, and when people are in these communities and still hanging out with their peers with that. And so, but we don't think about what sexual rights are. We don't think about sexual rights for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
So, right. So physical disabilities, mind is completely there, but their body may be off. They still have sexual rights. And mental disabilities, they still have sexual rights. And so we have a lot of parents that they run up against, maybe a daughter or a son, but it's usually really the sons, when they have to deal with their sex and sexuality, even though their cognitive ability isn't there with that.
Oh my God, I gotta tell this funny story.
Please tell the story. Please tell the story.
So I used to work, I used to do home health care for quite some time as well, in tandem with doing mental health work. And we used to have people that had developmental delays. And so it was a guy, he was an older guy. I won't say older, but he wasn't young. He was like in his 50s. We'll just call him D.
Okay.
So we had called D several times when he would take his showers, sticking things in places, right? And so we sat D down and we had the conversation like, you cannot do that. You know, you might hurt yourself, because sometimes depending on what it was, he would bleed, whatever, you know? Yeah. And I just remember him saying, he had these like, he was like, but I like it.
It feels good.
At that moment, like, he's like, y'all telling me I can't do this, but this feels good to me, regardless of my mental capacity or intellect or whatever. I know that I like this feeling when I put things in places, you know. So I just that always stuck out to me, because he's like, but I like it. Like, you telling me, but because so those desires are still there. Like,
they're very much still there.
Yeah,
they're very much, because I think people forget that sex is a biological species need and desire. And so whether you are cognitively there or not, that species, that drive, that Homo sapien in you is going to want to do what it's supposed to do, which is procreate so that the species will live. That's a hard driver. Like, that's a hard driver.
You remember, and I don't remember, you know, we both been in this field a long time, you more than me, but me almost 20 years myself. But it was an article that I read or something, and it was about, like, the son basically had been paralyzed, or if he wasn't paralyzed, he could not do certain things, and the father had been taking care of him. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember, but go ahead, bring me to.
Okay, so apparently the son had started having erections, and he started, you know, he couldn't do anything about it, but it was this whole huge debate because his father started helping him with that.
Wow.
But not in a sexual way. It just in a, I know as a man that you want, like, he's like, he has these erections. I'm not attracted to my son, but it was just such a huge debate. But that's another case of that. Like, obviously, for so many reasons, that's a huge debate. But even though he could not move his arms or body, he was paralyzed, or I can't remember if he had spinal cord. I can't remember what it was. But the father was like, this is something that his body is still craving. So if he can never do it himself, and I mean, I could pay some woman or prostitute, you know, somebody, but I care too much for him to just allow some random person. I don't know. So that was a huge debate, but that's another one of those when we talk about people with disabilities and they're still having desires, like,
right. And so I think, first of all, I just want to say this is a huge area for any sex therapist to get out there and educate in, because all of the people that we have in these group home, in these adolescent hospitals, that's taking care of the disabled, like, it needs to be a whole educational.
Because they just tell them not to do it. I worked with that population for 7 years. Just told them no, they couldn't do it.
Right. So if I had any more time on my schedule to do one more project, I would add that on. That might be something I do in retirement as a labor of love, just to go around and start educating about universal sexual rights with that. But there's so many stories out there like that. And what do you do and how do you talk to them, especially when they're not on a cognitive level to even understand what's going on with their body? Like, how do you help with that?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much, and that's so loaded. Like, that's just so much and loaded. So Helen Hunt, the actress, she did a movie called, I think The Sessions was the name of it. And it was a guy who kind of same story, but he was independent. He didn't have any family, so he had to have nurses come in. And so at the beginning of the nurse, he has a nurse come in. He's like in an iron lung, like he has to be in this whole thing. He had like polio as a child or something, so he had to be in an iron lung. And so the nurse would come in and he would get an erection because he had a woman touching him, because this is the only time he God, like only time he got touched. And so he kind of goes throughout the movie and he's trying to figure out, like, how do I get this sexual need met? And he's even talking to his pastor about, what do I do? Like, am I gonna, I think it was kind of very clear, evident that he wasn't gonna have a full lifespan. So he was like, am I gonna die without ever being touched by a woman? Right. Being touched sexually with that? And so it's so interesting. And one of the other things I think that was clear in that movie is some of our churches are not even adapted for disabled people to be in the church house. So he needs to listen to this guy, but because he's on this like gurney, I think he was traveling young, that he has to be sitting out in the middle of the church for him to have this very private conversation. So I think one of the things that as churches we have to do is and we always think about just the marginalized communities in church. I think we think about LGBTQIA and all of the letters, and we don't think about how our disabled population is marginalized, and our elderly population is marginalized. And I think, which is really nice that that church has gone online. And I'm really excited now that I'm thinking about it. This is the perfect time for church to go online for a lot of baby boomers, as they're not wanting to come out their houses anymore. And then in the next 10, 20 years, the baby boomers may not even have the physical ability to come out their houses. And so for them to have space, have a space and ability to still worship. So bringing it back to sex and sexuality is knowing that I love that this book addresses the universal sexual rights that we all have as being born on this earth, universal sexual rights with that. And so I'm going to implore anybody to read it, if for no other reason, just to get a different perspective. To start thinking about differently. You don't know what you don't know until you know it with that. And I think sometimes in church, we have been scared of getting new information or new knowledge with that. And I just want to remind y'all, God ain't going nowhere. Like God ain't going nowhere all this time. Right. And so you can read and get some new information and still a viewpoint. You don't have to adopt it. You can just know it exists.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't have to adopt it.
It doesn't have to be yours. That's why I said it falls in the middle. Just because you know something doesn't mean that it has to become what you believe and who you are, and this is now what you created as your own. And that one of the biggest things is, like you said, universal, not just from just a marginalized, but like I said, just looking at it globally and how people view sex across the world. I'm not even gonna touch that. I want to do a whole, workshop or conference on, race and sexuality and religion and sexuality, and looking at the different religions and the different races and how they play a role in how women experience pleasure, are even able to experience pleasure, So
that. So because I have a whole, I am not going to get my doctorate, Lord Jesus. But if I did go back and get my doctorate, what I would do my thesis on is female sexuality, because a lot of cultures, females did not have any rights over their own sex and sexuality and sexual pleasure.
And
they didn't have in their bodies. They didn't have permission to ask for sex. Just was I'm gonna take this wife in to me with the tent this night, and you better be ready. And so I think in a lot of ways, because females really didn't get charged the majority of culture. because prostitution been around since the beginning. But the majority of cultural females really have not had access to their own sexuality and sexual freedom and sexual agency until the women's liberation movement. And so then you were finally able to pick a partner that you liked. And in many cultures, you still don't have any say over who your partner is. And so it's since then that you can now pick a partner and have a say in it. Then we got the ability to say what happened in sex. And I don't even know if we really got that until 80s, 90s with that. And I think even in the 80s, definitely a lot 90s. Of people were still like,
I would give 80s. I don't even know if I would give 80s. Like,
right, because it was really about make sure you do your wifely duty. Like it was really all about, you know, making sure you're in service to your husband.
Right, exactly.
And so now I really would love to look at that across cultures. Is now that we're having a little bit more say, at least in the American culture and some European cultures, but y'all know it's a lot of cultures that women still don't have a say. Is I really feel like female sexuality is in an infancy stage as compared to like all of civilization. And so how that impacts us. And I think it's fair to say one of the ways it impacts us is people still walking around talking about, I've been in pain for 5 years and I didn't tell my doctor. What?
Because somewhere along the way, I think that there's this stark difference between either sex is supposed to be pleasurable or it's supposed to be painful. Like, it's like, oh, well, it's gonna hurt, or, you know, oh, you may not always, you just do what you have to do. It's this chore mandated, it could possibly hurt, or it's this mind-blowing experience that somebody's looking for. And the reality is sometimes sex is just sex. It falls right in the middle. It ain't mind-blowing. And it ain't painful, but we did it.
So there's another book. I don't think we have it in the book club, but I'll have to add it to the book club. And I have a lot of my couples read it. And what it's because there's one paragraph in there that I'm like, read this paragraph right here. And then it's called, I can't even think of the name of the book. It's one of Barry McCarthy's books. But anyway, the book literally says that when you're in a long-term committed relationship, a good sexual relationship is going to have mutually satisfying sexual experiences for both partners 40 to 50% of the time. 40 to 50% of the time. And then the rest of the time, it might be good for them. It might be good for you. It might be just ride along sex. It might be bad sex. And it also specifically says 13 to 15% of the time is going to be bad sexual experiences. And so the relief that I see on some of my clients' faces when they're just like, oh, wow. Because they thought they were doing it wrong because they're not having mind-blowing porn quality sex 5 out of the 7 days of the week, 356 days of the year. Like, you know, and so just understand that a good sex life should really mirror your relationship with that. And so some days I love you and I want to be with you. Some days I need you to go away so I can miss you. Some days we are laughing all day. Some days we are really like just soft with each other and just kind of in connection with each other, you know? And so it really should be this good reflection of what's going on with us.
Right.
You know? And so just people allow for that variety in your sex. And I want my clients almost to see it as a buffet that, you know, sometimes, you know, we have the whole full experience and we're eating every single thing on the buffet. And this is a 4, 5, 6 hour session. Some days I just need to get a salad. Like some days just give me this one piece of meat and I'm good.
You're on your own with that 6 hour session, Natalie.
I want you to have those days. That's vacation sex. We ain't worried about nothing sex. That's like get
true.
The food,
I always
order
laugh
to the
at those songs about sex from sundown to sun up and this and that. I'm like,
the person with kids got time for that.
No way. I couldn't even get through the call. So no way.
Oh, and that's real life. Like that's real life.
Yeah.
And so we want people to have real life and real sex and understand that what you guys are seeing on TV and seeing on porn is a production.
It is truly a production.
It is a production.
But you know what? I feel like even in porn now, they've taken like it's like 20, 30 minutes. They're not even having sex for no 2, 3 hours. You know, they used to have a long script and all this. It's like Banger Brothers, whatever they call, whatever, I don't know, but 20, 25 minutes.
Right.
You're going to get out of one production. You're not getting no 2-hour porn. Those days are gone.
Anybody got time for that?
Ain't
nobody got the bandwidth for that.
We're a microwave society. We don't even want to watch it for 2 hours.
Right. I got stuff to do. I oh my God, you're so funny. Okay. All right. Winding us down. Last thoughts about the book.
Read it. My last thoughts are just, in order for you to really be able to gain something from it, you just have to read it for yourself, because we're all gonna see something different in it. Like I said, I was very excited about it to be able to have it for my clients, especially being in the Christian sex therapy arena. It was very exciting for me, but to be able to know that religious beings are still sexual beings.
Oh, yeah. Because we're still human beings with that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah.
So I would say, if you've ever pondered upon, why religion is the way it is, I feel like he even talks about some of those things, where some of these ideologies came from, where some of these beliefs came from, some of that historical knowledge, so then you can make your own decision, right? Like, we leaving out of the church like this. Who came up with that? And why do we still do it? Like, you bringing more attention, putting your finger up.
And there's a lot of things that we do with that. Oh, that's a whole conversation for a whole nother day. But how we intermingle tradition with religion, and
they don't have anything to do with each other.
Right. And we lock them together so that we're not able to separate and change with that. So that's a good one. It's so many things that we do in church that ain't got nothing to do with religion, ain't got nothing to do with Jesus, ain't got nothing to do with nothing. We have just taken things and put them together, fused them together. Yeah.
And when I say man, I'm using that loosely. Human beings, people.
Right. People. So, okay. I loved your final thought of reading the book. My final thought, I think, is the same thing, is get this information, especially, and you know who you are, that you're more rigid around sexual topics with that. Because I think if nothing else, the book will open up just a little, it's almost like cracking a door so that you can get some different thoughts in your brain that are going to help you in your relationships, help you in your conversations, help you think about things. Because, and like I was becoming a sex therapist, you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know. I would venture to say I didn't even know what I did know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hadn't really sat down and thought, what do I think about sex? What do I think about masturbation? What do I think? When is sex sex? You know, I just hadn't thought about these things. And so reading a book like this is going to help you start to think about how you think about sex and sexuality, how you want to think about sex and sexuality, just hearing somebody else talk about it. So it's going to open up a conversation, which is going to be better for you. I promise you, it's going to be good for you.
Crack the gun and crack that.
With that. So, okay. All right. So closing us now, I want to talk to you guys about the next book. And so let me try to share my screen again in a way that will get us to the book. The next book is going to be Becoming Cliterate by Lori Mintz. And I want to show it to you guys. Hold on.
Right, don't be putting your address up there now.
Right? Or my bank account. Okay. Right. Okay. I wouldn't put it past me. All right. So the next book is Becoming Cliterate by Why Orgasm Equality Matters and How to Get It by Dr. Lori Mintz. Y'all, I just love Dr. Mintz because I met her on the elevator. And like, she's a real woman. She has a real job. You know, she's a professor at a university. She is just a real woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not some sexy supermodel. Like, I think she has 3 kids, a husband, 2 dogs, like a real woman. And so for her to do this research and put this book out, I think is just exciting. And so I think you guys are gonna like really enjoy it. I've had many of my couples in therapy read it, and they have enjoyed it and gotten something out of it. And so really gotten something out of it. You know, literally. Having a completely right. And so just really, you know, we don't think about it. And so many men and women are clueless about female sexuality.
Yes.
With that and how to get an orgasm. And so it is 2023 and I am still at least on a weekly basis educating women that most women don't have a orgasm through penis vagina sex. Like I almost feel like I just need to put it on a recording.
Yeah.
With that and the relief we hear when women are like, really, I'm not broken, I'm normal. Oh, I'm supposed to be using my clitoris. Oh, I didn't know that.
Just with get a retractable shower head and keep it pushing.
Okay, so your orgasm problem is a cultural problem. Oh, she's starting with the big guns in this one. Okay, we're gonna go after the whole culture. All right, that's what how to increase your clitoris in section 2. And the time has come for you to come. Oh, so section 4, wait, there's more.
Yeah. Come again.
All right, and then section 5, you don't have to have a clitoris to be clitorate. What?
Because they the ones that need to know their way around the clitoris too.
That is it. Clitoracy for him. So I can't wait for us to get into all of this next month. So you guys have it. This is the book that we're going to be reading for a book club next month. And we will be getting together for a book club. Do you have that date? It should be 3rd Thursday. So 3rd Thursday in January. In June.
You're trying to take us back to January.
Oh, wait, girl.
So I have June the 15th for our book club.
Okay, June the 15th it is. So email me at natalie@natalieelliott.com and I will give you guys information. Also, the book we did tonight, we have questions. So if anybody is listening to this and you would like to get ASEC CEUs, if you read the book, send me an email. I will send you the questions. And for those questions, you'll get a 1-hour CEU. A 1-hour CEU.
Can't get
like 10 questions. It can. For a book that you need to read anyway, because this book, from a therapist perspective, this book is going to help you talk to your clients who are really stuck in their religious beliefs. You know, it'll be, and you know, he wrote the book for the layperson. Like, it's not really complicated. It's not thick. And so this will be a book that you can sit down with your clients. Like, how many of us have church leadership, priests, pastors, who are in our offices struggling over a sexual issue? That just having a little bit more information may help them with the struggle. You know, it just breaks my heart when I have anybody in religious leadership or congregational layperson who can't understand why they like sex because I want to be like sold out for Jesus. Okay, you still in the body. And so you gonna want to have sex just like you gonna want to eat food, like with that. And so having that understanding and then figure out, okay, what do we need to do to address your needs? What does that energy need to know if you're not going to put it in sex and sexuality? Like why are you not putting it into sex and sexuality? Do we need to get you married? Do we need to get you dating? Like, what do we need to do? I'm really talking about that. Yeah. And so I think, again, sometimes not only do people use church and religion to hide from sexual issues, they'll even use church and religion to hide from dating issues, romantic issues, to
social anxiety issues,
social anxiety issues, everything. They really will. So if that's you, call us. Please don't like suffer alone. Like, I hate when I hear those stories of somebody who's been just suffering alone for whatever reason. You don't have to tormenting yourself. You don't have to.
Well, let me put that out there. In my private practice information is Blissful Beginnings Counseling. You can find me on Google. I got 5 stars. Blissful Beginnings Counseling here in Atlanta. And I would love to see you guys at my workshop. I'm gonna put it up there for you so you can take a picture. It's a QR code. You can scan it from your screen. You can from your phone.
You did something and you took your picture off the screen. Did you try to get to a QR code or something?
Yeah, it's not on there.
I see you talking, but I'm not. There we go. Now I got you back.
But can you see the QR code?
I can't see nothing. It's not showing the QR code.
Well, it's not even bright from the head to
and I would try to I can't make no promises, but I would try to figure out how to make sure your information is in the show notes wherever this winds up being. Probably on YouTube.
Yeah. If you go to Relatable Rita, you'll see all of that information as well.
Yeah. So. If they Google you, Google your name, what name should they be Googling?
If they Google my name, they should Google Sharita Shelton, and then it should pull up.
LPC, LMFT, what?
LPC, Sharita Shelton Settles, LPC. And then they can Google Blissful Beginnings Counseling. And if they're on social media, it's at Relatable Rita.
Okay. All right. And I am Natalie Elliott with Atlanta Sex Therapy. And so you should be able to Google me. So if you put in Natalie Elliott, Atlanta Sex Therapy, I should come up.
You do.
Right? I ain't been paying Google all these years for nothing. I should come up. And so I just want y'all to know that we're here. It just hurts my heart that people are out there hurting alone and in silence. Like that hurts my heart. When I was in college, I flunked. I was flunking out. I failed a writing course or something like that. I can't remember. I just remember riding around campus crying on a bus. And nobody stopped to say, like, why are you crying? With that. And so I would hate for anybody to have that alone feeling that I got to struggle and deal with this alone. And so you don't have to struggle and deal with this alone. And I'm going to speak for both of us. Because if you run into a problem that she can't help you with, you can call and help me with. It doesn't matter what you've done sexually. If you want to talk to one of us about it, we are here to listen. Yes. You can say, hey, I've been sleeping with the tree. I don't care. Come on, let's figure out, like, what do we need to do with that? And I can't have you do that in Piedmont Park. But
hey, it might be the roughness of the tree. They might just need somebody that's a little, we're not here to judge.
So whatever, we're not here to judge. But you don't have to keep doing this alone. And you don't. Yeah, you don't. It's so much I want to say because I just feel like people are doing it alone. So and anyway, okay. So if y'all want us, reach out. We're here. And oh my gosh, that's an hour. It's like 7:56. I don't know when the last 10 minutes they went by so fast. So reach out if y'all need us, and we'll be back next third Thursday with book club on Becoming Clitorate. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Have a good one.
You too.